So welcome to this video on the value freedom debate as part of A-level sociology theory and methods, and it will likely to appear in paper 1 or paper 3. So as we said, this is a value freedom debate, and by this it's a debate with many sides to this argument. So we look at the arguments, the different debate areas, and when it comes to writing an answer for this question, what you need to do is take the information from the different sides of the debate and just structure your answer based on what the question is doing. So it's quite a good topic for learning the sides of the debates and using them as needed. Now, the main arguments, the main elements of the debate we're going to talk about here is that sociology is value free, sociology is value laden, and sociology should be value committed. These are the three arguments in this debate. Before we get into that, we should really focus on what value freedom is before we get talking about it. And essentially, value freedom is that you do not include feelings, meanings, opinions in your research. You remain objective throughout your study. And that's what we're going to argue here. Is it possible to remain objective to this degree? Now, the first argument we have is sociology is value free. It is possible and desirable. And as you can imagine, these are arguments that you're probably familiar with, coming from from positivist thinkers that suggest that sociology can be quantitative, it can be reliable, it can be detached, it can be scientific, and that removes the influence of the researcher. It's also desirable, that this is probably the best way to do research. Again, positivists would argue that we should be looking at treating sociology like the physical sciences. And the founding fathers of sociology, so Durkheim, Weber, Marx, Comte, were likely to lean this way. So particularly Durkheim and Comte were very keen on this scientific approach. Weber and Marx had elements of their arguments that suggested sociology could be scientific. Now, the value-laden debate is the second one, is that sociology is going to have values and beliefs and feelings in it. There's not really much that can be done. So the first argument comes from Kuhn, talking about paradigms. So sociologists are no different from other thinkers, other values, and that's going to influence what they do. Sociology is not like the sciences where everyone agrees on a particular viewpoint, theory, or argument. There are different competing theories, all with their own opinion, and that's what makes sociology pre-paradigmatic. It means it cannot be like a science and therefore is going to have values. We have domain assumptions, kind of building on this from Goldner, that suggests that every theoretical perspective is influenced by their beliefs, their views on the nature of society. So functionalists will assume that society is based on a consensus. Marxism is based on conflict. Feminism focuses on gender inequality. So all of them are going to have a different viewpoint, and that's going to shape and frame the topics of their research and study. So again, reflecting back on that paradigms debate. The subject matter is also really important. So sociologists can try to be detached and objective, but when it comes to the subject choice, there's obviously going to be influence in terms of sociologists have chosen a subject. That's going to include an element of value or of choice or influence of their background, but also the topic. We are studying people. All the respondents are going to have values, feelings, attitudes, beliefs, which could influence the impact and results of the research. Money is a key factor within all pieces of research. If sociologists are seeking funding from a government agency or a charity or an outside body, then they are going to shape their research to match the interests of those organisations in order to secure funding. If a sociologist is doing the research as part of their academic programme, as part of their role within a university, then again they're probably going to be doing research that kind of fits in with either their field of specialism, their topic area of teaching, or the attitudes of their university. So this again is going to be an sort of implicit or sort of unintentional influence over the research. And then last but not least, we have postmodernists. Now postmodernists, as we've seen before, they disagree with the meta-narrative. So if sociology was to become a science, be quantifiable, objective, looking at social facts, it becomes like a science, it becomes a meta-narrative, and postmodernists would challenge that and disagree with that view. But also they argue that it's completely impossible to be truly objective, to be value-free. Knowledge and facts are simply one viewpoint of a particular group or experience or event, and so therefore there's always going to be some form of value influencing research. The final argument comes from the value committed. So sociology shouldn't be worrying about whether it's value free or value laden. It should be fighting for the interests of the disprivileged and disadvantaged. So it doesn't matter whether it's value free or not, it should be used to bring about change. Now the key arguments here come from feminism. So again, sociology has traditionally been mainstream, and it can be argued that it's therefore not been value free. It's been focused on the impact of men, the roles of men, the values of men. So researchers say that we should involve women, focus on women, and they should be involved in the research. So female subjects become co-researchers and collaborate with their sort of piece of research, like Oakley's collaborative friends. Social action thinkers like interactionists like Becker would argue that sociology traditionally is focused on the powerful, those in charge, the sort of the dominant groups. And what he argues is that this is an opportunity to give the underdog a voice. So particularly looking at his studies of labelling, it was about the impact of powerful groups labelling the less powerful and the impact those labels had on the individuals. And again, that's what he highlights, that we should be raising this inequality, highlighting this difference rather than just supporting the interests of the dominant groups. And lastly, Marxism. Again, Marxism will argue the role of sociology is to uncover the ways in which society works, particularly supporting the interests of the ruling class, kind of almost pulling back the curtain and showing the inner workings, how capitalism is making the system work for its interests, while at the same time giving us this false consciousness to agree. So we've got Bowers and Gintis who talk about the myth of meritocracy, Willis looking at his lads and how they end up in working class jobs. So again, for Marxists, sociology shouldn't be about value, freedom or laden. It should be about highlighting the inequalities and supporting the oppressed, in this case the proletariat. And there we have it. So again, a very overview sort of summary of value, freedom debate. The key elements of it: value free, value laden, value committed. Hope this has helped, and take a screenshot if you need to, just to put into your notes. If this has been helpful, as I say, give me a like, subscribe to the channel, put a comment on just to let me know this is the right thing and this is helping you. Otherwise, thanks for watching and good luck with any essays that you use this information for.